This is Jeff Bell with the Crimson Political Action Council, and I'm very happy to be with Miss April Baskin, current chairwoman of the Erie County Legislature in Buffalo, New York, and a candidate for the New York State Senate District 63. And I know you have a lot to go on and a lot of different fires that you're dealing with. Wanted your thoughts with consideration of, Crimson Political Action Council. Of course, we are pro-union, most certainly pro-reproductive rights, pro-voting rights. We want to participate in progress in criminal justice in the legal system for marginalized communities, public education, what have you. And so where we are is that we are most certainly diametrically opposed to the tenets of Project 2025. And I know that you have some thoughts to share regarding Project 2025. And there are some people saying that elements of that have already begun to be rolled out throughout the country. So we wanted to know your thoughts on Project 2025.
Well, thank you. First off, I want to thank the Crimson Political Action Council for their endorsement, your time, Mr. Bell, for sitting down and talking to me about this important issue and how it impacts people who come from walks of life, such as you and I. And just to, again, highlight the Crimson PAC for looking at a state Senate seat all the way up in Buffalo, New York, as a race worthy of your support and of your attention. So thank you so much. Yeah, I think that Project 25 is basically an attempt to declaw the federal government, and it's being promoted to us through this lens of this vile dystopia. Like we live in this world now where the federal government is controlling your life and controlling your education system and killing babies and letting, people from other countries run rampant and rape us and murder us. And that's a lie. It is a bold-faced lie, and they are banking on the ignorance of the American people to believe these scare tactics. Project 25 is actually, in reality, an attempt to remove the securities that the federal government allows us to have to protect our freedoms. Things like Social Security, things like voting rights. I mean, these are privileges that come out of federal government legislation. And again, Project 25 has been set up to declaw that. I mean, there are a couple of things that I think that we really need to, as a Black people, look at when it comes to some of the things that are pointed out under language such as, we need to take this country back to when it was great, like in the 1960s. That's pretty dangerous, and that's overtly saying to Black people that there was a time in this country when we had less than we have now. And, the Trump administration would like to go back to that time frame. And that is disgusting and extremely dangerous.
Yeah. My thing is, if you look at it, there's just found a way to circumvent, with the proposed abolition of the Department of Education. And some of the things that come out of that, that's just another way to get around Brown versus Board of Education. And, you can't say that out loud.
Yes.
But that's what it is. I mean, to defund public schools. And I still have yet to get a good answer on the voucher program. I'm in Georgia, and I know the cost of private schools. That voucher doesn't cover, wouldn't be a grain of sand in a bucket. So it's more or less an attack on, and some people need to understand it's not because it's couched as white versus Black, but it's more of a class thing involved as well.
Very well said. Yep.
What do you suppose, if you had to guess, I'm gonna give you a two-part question. What would be the inspiration for that? And what are some of the things that we can do to rail against that and prevent the implementation of Project 2025?
I think the motivation behind Project 25 is just control and power. And I think Black people and marginalized people have been set up in systems because of the uniqueness of their ethnicity. And that is seen as a threat to people who are the lineage of the founding fathers, I would say, of this country. And so we've always been at the bottom of the totem pole. And over time, as America has grown as a country and more freedoms and opportunities have been afforded to those from low economic statuses or ethnic backgrounds, we are a threat to those who have, for legacies and years and centuries, held the seat of power. And so if you could take this country back to a time when it could identify with the enslavement of Blacks and in its most rawest form, you know, we have that still today in mass incarceration and things like that. But I mean, if we could go back to its most rawest form, then those who have held the seat of power are no longer in jeopardy of losing it. And so I think Project 25 is just cowards just living in fear of Black excellence and what we can truly be and are to this country. How do we combat that as a people? Educating ourselves, voting on election day against all parties and candidates who are pro Project 25 or who are affiliated with members who are the authors of the policies. And I really also believe that financial literacy is really, really the pathway out of racial segregation, in my opinion. In my community, we faced a tragic mass shooting 2 years ago, where an outside arbitrator targeted a Black community, a Black grocery store, and drove hours specifically to this grocery store with a plan written in a manifesto that he was going to kill as many Black people as possible. And the fact that Black people could be so concentrated in this one community, and he knew exactly what grocery store to go to where he would be able to kill as many Black people as possible, is telling. Black people's wealth is not spread throughout the city of Buffalo. And our wealth is not spread throughout the city of Buffalo because we don't have access to the resources to be able to obtain wealth and maintain wealth. And so I would encourage Black communities, brown communities, marginalized and low income communities across our entire country, if we want to combat the ideologies of Project 25, we have to grow our wealth. And we have to be able to do that through educating ourselves in financial literacy.
And how do you suppose the implementation of Project 2025 would impact the possibility of growing our wealth?
Oh, it's going to kill us. I mean, just as plain as simple. Project 25 has a section dedicated to militarizing police forces. So if we are already dealing with police forces and an explicit bias, the way that we do as people of color now, imagine it magnified when it is literally the law for your local police department to act as though they are the military. They do that because they can get away with it right now, but under Project 25, it would be a mandate. The same thing with dismantling opportunities for upward mobility so that we can obtain wealth through affirmative action, DEI initiatives. These are policies that are put in place, but under Project 25, the Department of Justice will be directed to dismantle all of that. So every program that has been created to create equity for Black people so that we can get the access to resources and education to be able to improve our wealth status, they're going to rip it from us. They're going to rip your opportunities to be that student that actually has an opportunity to compete in this college course or on this college campus. They're going to rip it because it appears to be anti-white. So there are very, very strategic ways to make sure that people do not obtain wealth. And that is to keep them impoverished and ignorant. And the access of any type of resources should always be in drought. And that is what Project 25 is set up to do.
Okay. Well, we thank you. We're running out of time, but I hope to continue this conversation among others with you. And you mentioned something about the Crimson Pact, and we appreciate you as more than you appreciate us. You mentioned the size of your race. all of it's important. And for have someone like you in that position as state senator would mean the world to us and mean the world to those who uh, embrace our policy initiatives, but also will benefit from them. And we also are ambitious for our candidates. So, because we're talking about being state senator in New York, well, you know, our time and investment is that we may see someone who may be a United States senator from New York. So it's no accident. Okay.
Okay.
We really appreciate you, Miss Baskin, and we're
Appreciate you
pulling
too.
for you, and we're
Thank,
behind you, and we're looking for great things from you. Thank you so
thank you.
much.
Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless. Take care.